My girlfriend called my $4,800 anniversary gift Etsy junk in front of everyone. I returned it and she lost her mind. I need some outside perspective because I'm still trying to process what happened at dinner tonight, and I honestly don't know if I'm overreacting or if this is as bad as it feels. I've been with my girlfriend Bella for almost 2 years now. When we first started dating, one of the things I really loved about her was that she seemed different from other women I dated. She was into vintage stuff, always dragging me to estate sales on weekends, antique shops, flea markets. She'd spend hours examining old jewelry, talking about the craftsmanship, how things used to be made with care and history behind them. She told me once, and I remember this clearly, "I love things that have a story, not just something mass-produced that everyone else has. I'm a mechanical engineer at an aviation company, and I've always been pretty careful with money. Not cheap, just intentional. When something matters to me, I'll spend on it. So for our 2-year anniversary coming up, I wanted to get her something really special. Something that combined everything she told me she loved. Vintage, meaningful, high quality, something with history. I started looking about 4 months ago. I went to this shop downtown run by this older guy, Mr. Kaplan, who specializes in vintage watches and jewelry. Real stuff, authenticated pieces, not reproduction junk. I must have visited his shop 6 or 7 times, just looking, asking questions, learning. He's got decades of experience and really knows his stuff. Then about 2 months ago, he showed me this watch. It's a 1940s Hamilton women's pocket watch, white gold with this delicate face and blue hands, tiny diamonds around the bezel. The craftsmanship is insane when you look at it up close. Mr. Kaplan authenticated it, had it professionally cleaned and serviced, showed me all the documentation. It came from an estate sale in Connecticut, belonged to some woman's grandmother who'd gotten it as a wedding gift in 1942. The price was $4,800. That's a lot of money for me. That's like 3 months of my discretionary spending after bills and savings. But I kept thinking about how perfect it was, how Bella would love the history behind it, how unique it was. Mr. Kaplan even showed me how rare it is to find one in this condition with the original movement still working. I put it on layaway and paid it off over 6 weeks. Tonight was our anniversary dinner. I made reservations at this rooftop place downtown, the kind with the skyline view and white tablecloths. Everything was going great through appetizers and the main course. She was laughing. We were talking about maybe taking a trip this summer, just really nice energy. After we finished eating before dessert came, I pulled out the small velvet box. I was actually nervous, excited to see her face when she opened it. She opened the box and her expression just changed. She picked up the watch, held it up to the light for maybe 3 seconds, then set it back down in the box like it was something she'd found stuck to her shoe. "Is this it?" she said, and her voice had this tone I'd never heard before. I tried to explain what it was, the history, the craftsmanship. She cut me off. "Adrian, this looks like something from Etsy for $30. She said it loud enough that the couple at the next table glanced over. "I'm not the type to wear flea market jewelry. I deserve Rolex, Cartier, something people actually recognize." I felt my face get hot. I tried again to explain that it was real, that it was authenticated white gold and diamonds, that it cost. "If you have to explain that it's real," she interrupted, "then it doesn't look expensive enough. I don't want to wear something my friends are going to laugh at." She pushed the box across the table toward me. "I'm going to fix my makeup." She got up and walked toward the bathroom, leaving me sitting there with the watch box in front of me, and the couple at the next table very deliberately looking anywhere but at me. When she came back, she barely spoke through dessert. On the drive home, she started comparing me to her coworkers' boyfriends. One got his girlfriend a Tiffany necklace, another got a Van Cleef bracelet, and I get a watch that looks like it came from someone's grandma's attic. When I dropped her off at her place, she didn't kiss me goodnight. Just said, "Next time ask me before you buy something expensive. I don't want to waste time returning things." I'm back at my apartment now looking at this watch. I spent months finding the perfect thing, saved up for it, was so excited to give it to her, and she called it junk in public, without even looking at it for more than a few seconds. I don't know, guys, is this normal? Am I being too sensitive? Or is this relationship showing me something I need to pay attention to? Edit. Thanks for all the responses. Reading through these comments is eye-opening. A lot of you are saying I should return it, and honestly, that's what I'm thinking about doing. I'll update if anything develops. Update 1. Holy shit, Reddit, I wasn't expecting this post to blow up like it did. Thanks for all the advice and perspective. I've read every comment, even the ones calling me an idiot for not seeing the red flags sooner. You're not wrong. So here's what happened. The morning after our anniversary dinner, I woke up and the first thing I did was reread my own post and all your comments. Something about seeing it written out and seeing everyone's reactions made it click. This wasn't about the watch. This was about respect, or the complete lack of it. I called Mr. Kaplan when his shop opened at 10 a.m., told him straight up what happened. He was quiet for a moment, then said, "Son, I've been doing this 40 years. The gift tells you about the giver. The reaction tells you about the receiver." He agreed to buy it back for $4,000. He had to deduct his costs for the cleaning and authentication work he'd done, which was fair. Here's where I might have been petty, but honestly, I don't care. I asked him to print out 2 receipts. The original one showing the full purchase price of $4,800 with all the details about the white gold, the diamonds, the year it was made, everything. And the buyback receipt showing he was giving me $4,000 for it. I still had a key to Bella's apartment. We'd exchanged keys about 6 months ago, so I drove over there while I knew she was at work at the mall. I let myself in and I left both receipts on her kitchen counter, right where she always drops her purse when she gets home. Then I left. My phone started blowing up around 5:30 p.m. First 3 missed calls, then texts. "Wait, that watch was almost $5,000. Did you already return it? Adrian, answer your phone." I didn't pick up right away. Made myself some dinner, watched half an episode of a show I'd been meaning to catch up on. Then I finally called her back. She was almost hyperventilating. "Why didn't you tell me it was that expensive? I thought it was some cheap vintage thing. You have to go buy it back." I kept my voice very calm. "I gave you a gift. You called it trash and pushed it away while barely looking at it. You said it looked like $30 Etsy junk. I simply respected your opinion and returned it. But I didn't know. You should have told me what you spent. How was I supposed to know? You were supposed to trust that I wouldn't give you trash on our anniversary. You were supposed to look at it for more than 3 seconds. You were supposed to not humiliate me in a restaurant." She started crying, which honestly surprised me because I'd never seen her cry before. She said I was being unfair, that she just didn't understand vintage pieces, that I should have explained better. Then she started saying I needed to make this right by getting her something else, something from Tiffany or Cartier, to make up for the misunderstanding. That's when I knew it wasn't sinking in. She still thought this was about the watch. She still thought she could fix this by getting me to buy her a different expensive thing. I told her we needed to take a break. She lost it, started yelling that I was breaking up with her over a gift, that I was being immature and petty. "No," I said. "I'm taking space from someone who valued a brand name more than the thought and effort I put in. I'm taking space from someone who embarrassed me in public rather than just saying thank you and talking to me privately later." I told her not to contact me for a while. That I needed to think. She said I was overreacting. That all her friends' boyfriends understand that women want luxury brands, and I was being cheap by getting upset about this. I hung up. Jonah, my coworker and probably my closest friend, came over that night with beer. I told him everything. He listened to the whole story, then said something that hit hard. "Bro, this stopped being about a watch the second she disrespected your judgment and your effort. The watch is just what made it visible." So yeah, that's where I am now. We're on a break that's probably going to become a breakup, and honestly, I feel more relieved than sad. Is that wrong? Edit. Jesus, my inbox. To answer the common questions, yes, I still have her key, planning to give it back. And no, she hasn't tried to come over yet. Edit 2. Her best friend Maggie just sent me a 3-page text calling me petty and cheap. She says Bella made an honest mistake and that I should be a man and buy her something from a real luxury brand to fix this. I haven't responded. Should I even bother? Update 2. Okay, so the break lasted about 4 days before everything went completely off the rails. Buckle up because this got weird and kind of scary. First, the Maggie situation. I ignored her 3-page text, but apparently that wasn't the end of it. She and Bella together decided to create a group chat. They added me, Bella, Maggie, another friend of Bella's I've met maybe twice, Bella's mom, and weirdly, Jonah from my work. The opening message from Bella was, "We need to have an honest conversation because Adrian won't talk to me one-on-one about fixing this." I left the group immediately. Didn't even read past that first message. Jonah texted me separately like 2 minutes later, "Dude, what the hell was that? I'm out." He'd left too. Bella's mom called me directly after that. The conversation was surreal. She told me I was being unforgiving and that her daughter just has high standards. That Bella puts effort into looking good for me, and the least I could do was invest in gifts that match her effort. I tried to explain that I did invest $4,800 worth. She cut me off and said if I really loved her daughter, I'd understand that presentation matters, and that a vintage watch doesn't photograph well for Instagram. I shit you not, that's what she said. Doesn't photograph well for Instagram. I told her respectfully that Bella and I were done, and I'd appreciate it if her family stopped contacting me. She said I was making a mistake and that I'd never find someone as beautiful as Bella who was willing to settle for an engineer's salary. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. Then came Wednesday. I checked my credit card statement online, and there was a charge for $2,900 at a jewelry boutique near the mall where Bella works. My stomach dropped. I called the bank immediately and reported it as fraud. While I was still on the phone with the fraud department, Bella called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message explaining very casually that she'd taken care of the gift situation herself and used my card to buy a proper bracelet from Pandora and a Tiffany necklace since I was being stubborn. I saved that voicemail. Then I called her back with the bank still on the line as a witness, told her clearly, "We are broken up. You stole my credit card information. You committed fraud. If those items aren't returned to that store within 2 hours, I'm filing a police report." She started screaming that she was just trying to fix things and that she didn't steal anything, and she had my card info from when I'd asked her to order takeout before, and she didn't think I'd care. The bank representative on the line confirmed they'd logged everything and the charges were being reversed. The boutique manager called me an hour later to confirm that Bella had come in and returned everything. She sounded pissed. I changed my locks that same day. Had a locksmith come out and rekey everything. Cost me $200 but worth every penny because the next day, my doorbell camera caught Bella trying to use her old key. She tried the handle 3 times, realized it didn't work, stood there for a minute looking at the camera, then left. She tried to get a new key from my building's front desk by telling them she'd forgotten hers. The desk staff refused because she's not on my lease. That apparently made her furious because she called them later to complain about their customer service. Here's where it gets interesting though. Jonah told me that one of Bella's coworkers came into a coffee shop near our office and recognized him. Apparently the story had gotten out among Bella's friend group, and the reactions weren't what Bella expected. Some of her coworkers thought she was insane for rejecting a $5,000 gift. Others were asking why she couldn't just appreciate the thought. The narrative she tried to spin, that I was cheap and got her fake jewelry, completely fell apart when people found out the real price. One of her work friends apparently told her straight up, "You dumped a guy with an engineering job who spent $5,000 on you because it wasn't the right brand. Are you stupid?" So now she wasn't just trying to get me back. She was trying to save face. Friday, she called my work, actually called the main line and asked to be transferred to me. My supervisor pulled me aside to let me know someone claiming to be my girlfriend had called twice. I explained we'd broken up and she was escalating. He made a note in case she called again. Then yesterday, and this is what made me decide I might need legal advice, she found my mom on Facebook. Sent her a long message with her version of events, that I'd promised her a luxury gift, then tricked her with costume jewelry, and when she politely asked for something else, I dumped her out of nowhere and was trying to ruin her reputation. My mom, bless her, screenshotted the whole thing and sent it to me with, "What is this woman talking about? Do you need help?" I explained everything to her. My mom then blocked Bella without much hesitation, didn't even bother to respond to her message. I'm keeping documentation of everything. Screenshots, voicemails, the doorbell camera footage, the credit card fraud report. Jonah thinks I should look into a restraining order, but I'm hoping she'll just calm down and move on. My lease is up in 2 months, and honestly, I'm thinking about moving anyway. Clean slate, you know. Edit. A lot of you are asking about the watch. No, I don't know who bought it from Mr. Kaplan. It's gone. And yeah, part of me wishes I'd kept it, but honestly, looking at it just reminded me of that restaurant. To everyone saying I should get a restraining order now, not later, I'm calling a lawyer Monday. You're probably right. Final update. I genuinely did not think I'd be posting again, but you guys have been following this disaster from the beginning, so you deserve to know how it ended. And it ended in a way I absolutely did not see coming. Last Tuesday, I got a call from Mr. Kaplan at the vintage shop. He sounded uncomfortable, which was unusual for him. He said a woman had come into his shop asking specifically about the 1940s Hamilton lady's pocket watch he'd sold me. She told him she was my girlfriend and that I'd returned it by mistake, and she wanted to buy it back. He said he didn't give her any information about whether he still had it or who might have bought it. But she was persistent, came back the next day with cash, offering to pay above asking price. She told him she'd made a terrible mistake and needed to get it back to fix things. Mr. Kaplan refused to sell to her and called to give me a heads up. I thanked him and thought that was the end of it. Then on Thursday, I got a package. No return address, but I recognized Bella's handwriting on the label. Inside was the watch. The exact same watch. In the original box Mr. Kaplan had given me with all the authentication papers. There was a note. "I bought it back. I know what it's worth now. I understand what it means. Can we please talk? I made a mistake and I'm sorry. Let's forget all of this and start over. I love you." I just stared at it for a while. Then I called Mr. Kaplan back. Turns out, after he'd refused to sell it to Bella, she tracked down the person he sold it to through some mutual contact or social media detective work. She bought it from them, and apparently paid significantly more than the $4,000 he'd given me for it. He'd heard through his network that she paid around $7,000. She'd borrowed money from her parents to buy back the watch I'd returned because she rejected it. But she wasn't actually trying to get the watch. She was trying to get me. Or more accurately, she was trying to get back the stable relationship she'd thrown away, the engineer boyfriend her friends were jealous of, the financial security, the social status of being in a serious relationship at 27. I sat with that information for about an hour. Then I did something that probably makes me an asshole, but I'm at peace with it. I packed the watch back up, drove it to Mr. Kaplan's shop, and sold it to him again. He gave me $3,800 this time. The market had shifted slightly, and he'd already had another buyer interested. I took the money. Then I called Bella's dad. I'd met him a few times, seemed like a reasonable guy. I explained the whole situation from start to finish. The anniversary dinner, the public rejection, the breakup, the credit card fraud, the harassment, and finally, her borrowing $7,000 from them to buy back the watch I'd sold. I told him clearly, "Sir, I'm not getting back together with your daughter. I sold the watch again. I'm calling you because she borrowed money from you under what I assume was false pretenses, and you should know that before you give her any more." He was quiet for a long time. Then he just said, "I appreciate you telling me directly. That took integrity," and hung up. Bella called me an hour later, absolutely hysterical. Apparently her dad had confronted her about the $7,000 and everything came out. She was screaming that I'd betrayed her by calling her father, that I'd humiliated her in front of her family, that I was cruel for selling the watch again. I kept my voice level. You humiliated me in a restaurant. You stole from me. You harassed me, my workplace, and my family. You borrowed money to buy back something I returned because you rejected it in the first place, thinking it would manipulate me into coming back. I'm done, Bella, completely done. Don't contact me again. She started to say something else, but I hung up. Then I blocked her number, blocked her on every social media platform, blocked Maggie, blocked anyone I knew who was primarily her friend. So where am I now? Honestly, I'm good. I moved last weekend. Found a one-bedroom place across town, closer to work, with a parking spot and a little balcony. It's smaller than my old place, but it's mine, you know. No history, no drama attached to it. I've been setting it up exactly how I want it. My brother helped me move. We made a day of it, got pizza after, watched a game. He brought his dog over yesterday and we're talking about doing a weekly basketball thing at the court near my new place. Work has been busy, which I'm grateful for. Keeps my mind occupied. My supervisor checked in with me last week to make sure everything was handled with the calls to the office. I appreciated that he didn't pry. I went on a date Friday night. Nothing serious, just coffee with someone I matched with on an app a couple weeks ago. Her name is Anne. She's a high school chemistry teacher, and she showed up wearing jeans and a hoodie from her college. We talked about science education and bad movies and restaurant recommendations for almost 2 hours. At the end, when I offered to pay, she insisted on splitting it. Then she said, I had a really good time, want to do this again. No games, no tests. Just a straightforward question from someone who seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me. I said yes. We're getting lunch this Sunday. She suggested this Vietnamese place she loves, said she'd been wanting to try their pho since the weather's getting colder. I told her I'd never had pho before. She got this excited look and said, oh good, I get to introduce you to it. It's early days. Hell, it's barely even started. But it felt easy in a way that I'd forgotten dating could feel. As for Bella, I heard through the grapevine that her parents made her pay them back with a payment plan from her paychecks, and that her dad isn't speaking to her right now. Maggie apparently tried to organize some kind of support intervention for Bella, but from what Jonah heard, it didn't go well. Mutual friends have been reaching out, asking for my side of the story, and I've just been politely declining to engage. My lawyer helped me draft a cease and desist letter. We haven't sent it yet, but it's ready if she starts up again. So far, she's been quiet. I think her dad scared her straight, honestly. The money from selling the watch both times went straight into my savings. I'm planning a trip for myself this spring, maybe Iceland or New Zealand. Somewhere I can hike and clear my head and just exist without thinking about any of this. Someone in my original post comments said, the trash took itself out. At the time, I was too hurt to see it that way, but they were right. She showed me exactly who she was, and I'm grateful I saw it before we got any more serious, before we moved in together or got engaged or tied our lives together in harder to undo ways. I'm 30 years old. I've got a solid job, good friends, a family that has my back, and a clean slate in a new apartment. I'm dating someone kind who splits the check and gets excited about soup. I'm planning a trip to see mountains and glaciers. That's a pretty good place to be, honestly. Thanks for listening, Reddit. You guys helped me see clearly when I needed it most.